halls of West Virginia resound with the sound of Golden Blue football.
Almost heaven, West Virginia.
Now let's bring on the Mountaineers. Goes around about the 50, the 10, the 5. A touchdown, West Virginia. He did it.
He did it. Patrick White. Touchdown, Tavon Austin.
But Don Nehlen's Mountaineers enjoy walking in where angels feared to tread.
I think you think that these guys are going to fall over dead for you. Well, I got news for you. They're going to punch you right in the mouth. It's Mountaineer pride.
Nothing cheap, nothing dirty, but West Virginia football. West Virginia football.
Leave no doubt tonight. They shouldn't have played the old Golden Blue. Not this night.
They've done it. They've done it. A perfect season. And the Mountaineers, for the first time in history, undefeated and untied.
Don Nehlen and his Mountaineers, for the second time, have finished a regular season with an unblemished mark.
Ain't no stopping the Golden Blue.
And now recorded from the CRW studios in Almost Heaven, West Virginia, it's the Country Roads Webcast with your host, Jordan Cruz.
What's going on, Mountaineer Nation? Welcome into episode 228 of the CRW podcast, our Backyard Brawl review and reaction, and it's coming after a huge Mountaineer win on 9-13. West Virginia gets it done in overtime in front of an electric atmosphere there at Milan Puskar Stadium. West Virginia wins it 31-24. We're going to go through the game, share our thoughts, our experiences from the game. You guys have heard some of mine. We're going to get to some of Steven's and some of Brad's as well here throughout this episode. And then we're going to talk stats from the game, give our players of the game, and then we'll take a look around the Big 12 as well before we wrap up, as always the case here on our review episodes. But joining me, of course, my aforementioned co-host there, we've got Mike Honcho in the house here, aka Steven.
What's up, everybody?
A little callback for you guys that listened to the episode last week. And then, of course, we've got my guy Brad in the house as well.
What up, everybody?
All right, gentlemen. So, like I said, I kind of went ahead and couldn't wait, had to hop on and do a live stream, and I ended up putting the audio up on the podcast side of things, talking a little bit about kind of my experience at the game and just about the atmosphere overall. I wanted to save getting into, the game itself for here on the episode with you guys, but I thought it was just very pertinent, and it, the way that my emotions were after the game, how happy I was, and just kind of the way it all tied back into, the last time Rich Rod was here in that pit game and the stories that I had of my own. So if you want to hear some of mine, check that out. I'll share one of those here in a minute, but I want to get to some of old Mike Honcho's and Brad's here throughout the episode as well. So let's go ahead. Steven, let's go ahead and go to you, man, because you were there too. But obviously we had different experiences because we were together, pre-game and stuff. But then once we got into the stadium, kind of had our own separate experiences there. And I've shared some of mine, but I want to hear a little bit about your thoughts on the atmosphere, the day in Morgantown, and just the game overall, the way things unfolded. How was you feeling, now that you've had a day or so to digest it here as we're recording the Backyard Brawl review after a West Virginia win in the 108th edition?
Yeah, before the game, went over to the Almost Heaven Village and finally got my poster of old Rich. I know you guys can't see it; it's just out of frame, but I got it hung up there on the wall. Finally got to cover old Darren DeVries' bitch ass face up. But anyway, spent most of the pregame in the Almost Heaven Village trying to find some shade for my grandfather because he was getting overheated. But once we got over to the line for the gate, tried to get there pretty early so we didn't have to wait in a long line. And that was really the most entertaining of the pregame for me because we stood right beside where we go into the gate was beside of the pit team player, like family line. Like everybody in that line was a family member of somebody that played for Pitt. And man, there were people going back and forth with those guys the whole time we were standing there. And it was comical. And I think a couple of them was it was started off as like friendly, and then a few of them started to get like absolutely pissed. So that was interesting to watch. And One of them I know had the jersey on Lovelace. I don't know which player that is. I think he might be a defensive player.
Oh yeah, I think it's the linebacker. Yeah.
But during the game, man, it was just like, I mentioned during the pre-show, but I've sat around the multitude of the people that were around me last night for many years. And I mean, not to say that they don't get excited during games, they do, but like, usually like if it's third down and, we're getting hype or whatever, like it's only sometimes that we'll stand up, you know what I mean? Because I guess a lot of people, I don't know, for whatever reason, people just don't really stand up unless it's a big time moment or whatever. You know what I mean? That was one of those games last night where everybody was standing up the entire time.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, I was hugging everybody around me, high fiving everybody around me. People were walking down the bleachers to give hugs and high fives to people. Like I said last week about us going to Ohio to play over there, that was what college football is all about. I was wrong, man. Last night, that shit right there is what college football is all about, man. That I have not felt that feeling in a long time. And I mean, like you could just tell, like the whole feeling of the game, man. Just watching how the team was conducting themselves in pregame, how Rich conducted himself the entire game. Like shit felt different this year, man. Like the brawl was always, even with Neil Brown as head coach, it was always great. But like, it was on another level last night. I cried. I couldn't help but cry after we won, singing Country Roads, because I didn't even realize it until talking to my papa all day. And like, I had not watched a game in person I had not watched them win against Pitt in person with him since 2011.
Wow.
We went to the game when we first renewed the rivalry up in Pittsburgh 3 years ago. Obviously, you guys know what happened. After the game was even worse. It was not a fun time. The very next year, we did win the game, but my papa got COVID, couldn't go to the game. And then last year, we decided we wasn't going back to Pittsburgh for a lot of different reasons. So this year, man, it was really special. That was my experience. Even being dog tired, man, dog tired. I was very delusional. I didn't know if I was. I legitimately thought I might pass out, but it's worth it. I swear, if I pass out from screaming too loud in this game, it's worth it. And I screamed to
That
the
was the
top.
game where you do it. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah, let it
bro. And
loose.
I let it out. I'm surprised I have a voice today. I didn't have a voice after the game for a little bit, but it
No.
started to come back.
Yeah, that's me. Mine came back this morning. Yesterday it was questionable. Last night after the game, because same as you, yelling, and I agree with some people in my section. Some of them were there that are people that didn't have season tickets, but the ones that were there that do, and normally I see them, and like you said, they just sit there. But this game they were into it, especially in that fourth quarter and overtime, and when we scored, everyone high five and hugging. It was just an awesome experience, and of course I shedded some tears as well. I talked about that when I shared some of my thoughts in the live stream. It was very emotional thing for me as well, with everything that tied into it for sure. But Brad, what about you, man? Let's get to you. After this 108th Backyard Brawl win, I know you didn't get a chance to go to the game, but I think you said you did have a chance to rewatch it now and stuff. So what was your experience, watching the game, and did the crowd and the atmosphere come through on the broadcast and feels, like it had an effect on the game, even watching it that way as much as it did there and as loud as it was for us there? Because, man, tell you what, being there was impressive. So I wanted to see kind of your experience with this game and how you felt about this big win for West Virginia, man.
Yeah, and my experience was I was working late. What was it, last night, Saturday night? Yeah, 9:13. And
9:13.
I was able to keep an eye on it a little bit. I put it up on the screen, and remind you all, I'm in deep Virginia Tech territory down here, like just swarmed with the enemy. So putting this game on could have been an opportunity for me to get reamed, but I was able to keep an eye on it, and I definitely made note that I was like, there's some crazy stuff happening in this game right now. And I kind of got caught up around the third quarter a lot, but I did see us, make it to overtime. I didn't really see how that kind of played out. And I swear, it's like I got home and I was checking my phone every 5 minutes to see if WVU RX Man, the most unsung hero in all of Mountaineer Nation, had posted the game on YouTube yet. And because I was like, I stayed up till 2:30 at night. I was like, if he puts it on right now, I'll watch it. I was like, I will watch this right now for the next 2 hours. Like, I will stay up. It ended up being almost 3 hours long of a video, which is hellaciously long. I was like, I will watch that right now. That's because I'm just so dedicated. It got so much to the point where I was like, I have to watch Mountaineer football so bad right now that I put on a Virginia Tech game from 2021 because it was just to watch us beat the Hokies because they were already getting beat up that night, and I wanted to feel good about something. That was the year we ended up upsetting them, but they weren't even that good. So, anyway, wake up this morning, it's posted. I put it on immediately, and watching it with a sense of already like knowing it's the first time in a long time. I feel like under Neil Brown, I never really. If we won a game, it was kind of boring. You know, it was. Or you never really came back to win games that you shouldn't win. You never really did that, and this definitely was that from every intents and purposes. Like this was, you know, you're down at home, 10 points, you blew a lead. Like you're talking about 2 back-to-back interceptions and then a stalled drive, and just every reason in the world to give up. And so just watching it with a sense of knowing that we won was different, and it was just so impressive what I saw. Like there was just like so many moments where it's like, what are we doing? Crazy penalties, you know, big plays. I talked about going into this game, it was a lot of question marks, right? Like it was an unknown, and I thought that might help us is the fact that, you know, we were a little bit of a surprise that they didn't necessarily know what we were going to throw at them, losing Jaheim White and Jaden Bray and different pieces. And that's exactly what happened. I mean, Ty Edwards came out of nowhere, and it was just like watching them pop off. Yeah,
it's a game where legends are made.
Yeah, and you know, just made an absolute statement game. And then going through a trio of quarterbacks at an interesting time, but like I kind of get it, but I kind of don't. There's some questions in there, but as Rich Rodriguez said in his post-game show, I'm the coach. So
yeah,
you know, I make that decision.
Post-game press conference was hilarious for me.
That's it was an all-timer.
I'm just showing a concern for their well-being.
I just want to know how good this is. You know, it was crazy, but it seemed like it was a magnificent game. Like I said, I'm so jealous. I was texting some of my friends that were up at the game, like sitting here talking to you guys about it beforehand. Like it is just, those are the games like I want to be at so bad. Usually when I do pick out one game a year to go to, it's those big games like Pitt, Penn State is what it's been the last 3-4 years. So it just couldn't happen for me this year. And so like, it's just like heartbreaking because to your point about, if you felt other people felt that way, when I was on social media, I feel like that's where I really felt, you know, the gravity of the game is just how the fans were reacting to it. And it was people coming together to really just support Mountaineer Nation. I mean, you got Jaheim White burning couches on X. You know, you got, I'm sure Rich Rod was doing the same thing. Jaheim White did.
Yeah, hold on, I'll show the picture.
Yeah,
I'll pull it up.
And so, you know, it's just, it's magnificent, you know, and this is what West Virginia football is about. Not necessarily burning couches, but giving you a reason to do so. And
no, you're right. It's about burning couches.
You know, and so it's just like seeing that is just what's really showed me how important of a game this was to everybody and how big it was to win. And in the fashion in which we did it. Again, it's something that we haven't felt in a long time. And again, we were all Neil Brown lovers on this podcast. You know, he had a lot of great untangibles for a coach, but he didn't have a lot of the tangibles that you do need. And, you know, Rich Rod just coming back and winning against Pitt. We talked about it in the podcast. This is going to buy him a lot of spare time. This is going to buy him a lot of some respect with the fan base. And I think it definitely gets everybody off his back no matter what happens the next 4 or 5 games, right? It's kind of where you at the end of the season, and that's what it does for you, you know. And you showed a lot of growth and change in there that happened. That again, we'll talk about it as we go on throughout the podcast, but just, you know, it was fun to watch. It was so good, and man, sounded like a top 5 atmosphere for sure. And I can't believe we came out with the W, but actually I can because all 3 of us predicted it. So
hey, that's right. Hey, we were all right.
Hey, and you know, one dude in the comment section that was very upset by that. I commented back to him.
Yeah.
Did you see that, Cruz?
No, I didn't see it. I'll have to go look at that one. I'll have to look at that one. No, I didn't see that.
Somebody,
I thought about doing the same, but I didn't do it.
I was laughing.
He said, I can see it in your eyes. You guys know they're going to lose and get their ass beat. And I commented back and said, you were saying?
That's perfect.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
There was one person in there that called us homers, and I was like, exactly. I was like,
I mean, people
yeah.
that say that though,
Never
like they
claimed
don't watch our
otherwise.
show.
What?
We are realistic. I mean, we do have blue and gold glasses, and we
Yeah.
get fed, fallacious stuff a lot from
Yeah.
coaching staffs. But like we try to be as realistic and honest as possible. Like,
Oh yeah.
it's not like we're out here to like predicting undefeated. I don't think any of
I mean, I
us
was
has
gonna
ever
say,
But it
predicted an
comes with a
undefeated season or
massive,
anything close to it.
comes with a massive bias. Huge. I've got.
Oh yeah, I mean, obviously, we know way more about our team than the opponent for sure. But I mean, we do keep it. We do keep it.
Was aggressive. I didn't mean for it to be.
What's the word I'm looking for? Keep it pretty objective though.
Yeah,
When it comes to like our predictions, I feel like in our preview shows, because I know there was one point I picked us to lose like 5 or 6 straight games.
Yeah.
Either it was like last year or back in like 2022 at one point.
Yeah.
In the Neil Brown era, I was picking us a bunch of L's. So
Yeah.
we'll try and keep it realistic on the prediction side at least, even though we definitely are going to lean more in the West Virginia side of things because that's what we know about, and we always wear the gold and blue glasses like we talked about.
Yeah.
And
99-0 on a punt.
yeah, and that's right. 99-0 on a block punt.
Wait,
Just like Steven said.
Just like I said.
Million.
Just like Mike Honcho called it, man. If Mike Honcho calls it, that's how it's going to be.
Yeah, Mike's got it.
He's got it.
Yeah.
But I do think that's great that you brought that back up, Brad, about what we said about, giving him some grace with the fans now with Rich Rod getting this win and how big it was. And we talked about how monumental it was. And I think also to go along with that, now it also, the team, you could see they're already balled in. You know what I'm saying? That's a hard edge win if I've ever seen one there. But now they see, okay, if we buy in, these are the things that'll happen. We'll win big games like this one. So that builds even more belief and, builds the culture, makes it even stronger as you continue further. And that's how you find yourself into a successful season, because now they're bought in even more. Oh, that was fun. Let's do that again this week. Well, can we do that again? Can we recreate that feeling? And, everyone continues to buy in even more. And so, that right there is something that you never had when you talk about the previous era as well. And, yes, we're going to tie it back to the previous era because it's year one of a new regime, and that's what you have to compare it to is the last regime. And, that's something that never really happened. You never really got the thing to where you felt like, okay, everyone's fully bought in now, because every time you'd have one of those big games, you'd never win it. And here, you could say probably first big game of the Rich Rod 2.0 era, and he goes out and wins it in dramatic fashion as well, and gets it done, man. But gets it done in a hard edge style. Like
And
I
did
said
you
there at
see
the
his
end, the way they did
emotion
it, that's what's
after
awesome.
he shook Narduzzi's hand? I mean, cussing, screaming, fist bumping. Oh my!
I still want him to punch him though.
That is so much better than what Neil
We didn't
Brown's.
get that, but that
you know
was
what I'm
about as
saying?
close as we could get, I guess.
Like it's that.
Yeah,
not
it's
whatever Neil Brown was doing.
That's what it's about. And his interview with ESPN at the end of the game as well, which I got a chance to watch after we got back from the game. That right there, man, that's another time, that had me tearing up, was those things, seeing his emotion after the game, which that shows, how much it meant to, him in this game. And then, of course, to a lot of Mountaineer Nation, which is what I talked about in my stream. And, I won't get into too much of my experience from the game because I've already shared that, so I don't want to get into it extensively here. But, just for the episode, I do want to share the one story because it does tie in for me. And that's, I'm in the game there. And the way I sit at the end of the row. So people that come through the section kind of got to walk by me. And so we're sitting there in the pregame. Fans are filing in. And a pit guy files through. He's coming past me, and he's got his 13-9 shirt on, man. And so at that point, as soon as I seen it, I was like, I've got to say something. So as he walks by, I'm just like, hey, man, that was 20 years ago. And his response was, oh, what are you talking about, man? Come on, it's today's date. It's today's date. And I'm just like, it's 20 years ago, man, and let him walk on by. And, of course, remember him, though, as the game progresses, because I'm sitting there thinking, if we win this thing, I'm going to remember this guy as he heads out the stadium, and I'm going to say something else to him. And so we go through the game, and, they're in overtime. If you guys remember, when Eddie V got that sack on the third down, that place was absolutely stupid loud. Yeah. And that's when a lot of the pit fans started to file out before even that last fourth down play happened. And so as they do, then I'm like, oh, I need to be looking for this guy. So I'm looking for him. He comes by. I spot him. As soon as I see him, I kind of flag him. They're like, hey, man. I'm like, you're right. That is the date. And I'll always remember it now. And he couldn't really say anything. He's just like, yeah, you always remember it now. Kind of nodded in acknowledgement. So, hey, we have that now, Mountaineer Nation. no longer 13-9. We got a response to it. It's 9-13. And that moment just kind of made it full circle for me at the game. And then, of course, that led into country roads and getting emotional and everything like Steven talked about. But, yeah, that's the one cool story that I had to double down on and share here as well, because that was kind of surreal that would happen at that
Hey, that
game
was
on that date with Rich Rod as the coach and us getting it done, you know?
Mhm.
that's the only
Yeah,
dickish thing I
absolutely.
did all day, actually, and I was very proud of myself, and y'all should be very proud of me too, because I'm telling you, every single year for this game, something happens. Every single year, I always get into some kind of confrontation with some. Anyway, I minded my cool all day long, and then I saw those Pitt fans leaving when they got tackled. First of all, y'all give up on y'all's team on third down.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, they were done. They was like,
but that
yeah, they could try and Hail Mary on fourth, but we're not going to see it because we're out.
the 5 people sitting behind me didn't have like this one girl was dressed like she was going to the prom. She had like a sequin black shirt on with a skirt, and she had her boyfriend there. He had a collared shirt on with like some khaki pants, and then like the rest of them just had like literally plain shirts, no logos for any team, just plainness. But then towards the end of the game, I hear them like they're like cheering for Pitt, not loudly. They're just trying to be like discreet about it. And then whenever they started walking out on that third down, I was like, bye, bye, get out.
Dude, yeah, I got a video as well of the ones that some of them that did stay, and then Country Roads is playing, and some of them are filing out. And so it's like Country Roads is playing, and I'm recording the field, and then you see me just pan the camera to like the stairwell, and then you see my hand come into frame, and I'm just like waving bye to them.
Yeah.
It's Country Roads is playing.
Of note on like the TV
Classic.
part of it, like seeing their fan base section was so small. Like I've seen bigger Big 12 audience attendance than
What's
that Pitt
crazy?
attendance. Like that was
What I'm glad you said that, because I wanted to mention that.
Nobody
It's
came, man.
crazy how different the dynamic of visitor seating is for this game specifically every time that they play in Morgantown, because they usually have the visitor section down there in the corner end zone behind where the visitors tunnel is, where it runs out. That's where
Yeah.
usually for this every single year I've ever been to this game that it's been there. They moved the visitor section to the upper deck, and it's only one small section up there, and then they're like mixed in and out through the rest of the section. They're always like in there with West Virginia fans. I hate it because they're
Yeah.
always making some kind of comments. These 2 dudes was sitting down a couple rows in front of me. They was talking mad shit the whole time, and then whenever they lost, they was everybody was yelling at them, and they couldn't handle it.
Yeah, then they get
And
that's when
that's
they want to
always
get
what it
pissed.
is. They always want to talk their shit, and then whenever they can't, when something happens, they can't handle it and they can't back it up.
They can't handle it either. Oh man, I'm telling you, but like everyone was into that game. And dude, the funniest thing that reminds me of another story. I hadn't shared this one yet. I don't think I told Steven this because I forgot about it. So I don't know what made me just think of it. But early in the game, super into it. We're on defense, which we got to talk about Zach Alley and his defense here as well. But I just had to share this first. And Holstein goes to throw a pass, man, or whatever. And he's got a guy open, but it ends up falling incomplete. I think it might have been on Pitt's first drive. I can't remember. And I jump up, man. And like I said, I'm right on the edge. So sometimes I'll jump up like, close to the stairwell. So make sure I'm not hitting anybody. And I jump up and I give it one of these. No, like, saying it's incomplete. But as soon as I do this, guess who's coming behind me, coming down the steps?
13-9.
Nope. State trooper, bro. Hit him right in the chest.
Oh God. He
I was
laughed at you.
I'm so sorry, man. He kind of caught my hand anyway, so it was like, because I'm sure he could see me because he's coming from behind me.
Oh
even though
yeah.
I didn't see him, so
He's
he
like, oh,
kind of
he's hype
caught it.
mode. I gotta.
He
Yeah.
kind of caught it and stopped it. Yeah, but I was like, at that point, I was like, okay, let me just chill out. So for the next couple series, I was a little bit more subdued, and then I was like, all right, I'm good. And I got back into it because I was like,
Did he at
all right,
least
maybe I'm a,
laugh
I was
at
like,
you a
I
little
was like,
bit?
maybe I was like, maybe I'm a little bit too hype for the brawl right now.
I wouldn't.
No, no such thing.
No, I mean he didn't care.
Like, why is
anything. That
this dude
was just me
walking down the
being,
stairwell right now?
anxious after that. I know. I was like, well, I didn't know you was coming from behind. I have eyes in the back of my head. So, but I was in hindsight, I'm like, that was actually pretty hilarious. I was like, I got to tell that one on the pod for sure. But
Yeah.
Zach Alley's defense was getting me hyped, man. And speaking of Zach
Yeah.
Alley's
Let's
defense,
talk about them
how
first.
about Zach Alley and the job that he's done thus far? Shout out to Jed Drenning. He provided some numbers to that today. Let me share this. So through 3 games, West Virginia's defense, number 2 in the nation in sacks, tied for number 2 in the nation in sacks. Added, I think, 6 of those in the game against Pitt, which I'll get some numbers on that too. We'll pull up momentarily. Top 20 in the nation as well in third down defense at number 19. top 15 in the nation in opponent red zone touchdown percentage. And that's even more impressive because sometimes we turned it over and had short fields to defend. And we're also top 15 in the nation in takeaways as well, which we know the goal is 3 per game. And we've come close to that on every game thus far. And then also, I think that this one was from WVU Barstool. Zach Alley's defense in the Backyard Brawl, 6 sacks, 7 TFLs, only allowed 1.4 yards per rush, and held Pitt to 4 of 17 on third down. And we still got Jamori Robinson coming in, boys. It's been without him. So thoughts on the defense and the job Zach Alley's done, and been here kind of a short time, but already doing a fantastic job having West Virginia's defense better than I've seen it in probably any point, not only the past 6 years, but maybe over the past two coaching regimes that we've had at West Virginia, because defense had been a struggle for both. Went out, paid good money to get Zach Alley, and I think it's definitely well worth it with the performance that he's put on thus far already in this short amount of time. Can only imagine, what it's going to be as he's here longer. Hopefully we're able to keep him, a decent amount of time, because I think he's a rising star, going to be a head coach soon. But with that being said, what do you think of this defense that he's putting together at West Virginia, especially their performance here in this Backyard Brawl game, Stephen?
I mean, you can't say enough about the defensive performance. It's night and day from what we've seen a year ago. Like you said, I mean, it's been a struggle for so long. I mean, we've completely forgotten what it's like to see good defense on a consistent basis, at least. I will say, the one thing that I did see all day was the wide open pass in the end zone that nobody, was around on that guy. But I think that was a lot due to some confusion on the prior play. That was one of those ones where Eli got tackled on the previous play, and they called a roughing the passer because he didn't lay a pillow down for his head when he hit the ground.
Mm-hmm.
So that next play, I think, was, had something to do with a little bit of that. But anyway, the rest of that, I mean, we talked about it going into the season, how many different blitz packages we were going to see, and how many things you were going to throw at you, and how fast it was going to be, how hard it was going to be to tell what they were running and when. I mean, good Lord Almighty, they got in their face all damn day yesterday, and Eli Holstein felt the brunt of it.
Oh yeah,
I know Narduzzi came out and said that they ripped his helmet off and punched him in the face. I'm like, okay, buddy, okay, we get that you want to make up things, but can you at least make some shit that's believable?
Yeah. I'll tell you
on
what.
The bottom of the pile. I don't.
And I mean, even watching it from the TV, like you never see him get anything overly egregious. Like even the targeting call, I thought was chest to chest. Like that was an insane call, and then to not turn around and call targeting when the exact same hit, but the person makes helmet to helmet contact with Nico, right before the half. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, honestly, like you never want to see anybody get seriously injured, but I mean, they don't call it the backyard.
No, but our dudes, talking about Zach Alley's defense, our dudes were swarming to the ball, like they were laying licks, like they were playing aggressive. Like one thing that blew me away was the fact that anytime that there was a ball on the ground, they were flying towards it.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't matter if the play was dead, whatever. If there was a ball on the ground, they were like, I'm grabbing that. And it was just like, seeing a team that was actively punching the ball, like Dred Drenning pulls up, turnovers and takeaways and things like that. And a lot of those have been just them attacking the ball. Like, I at one point in time, I remember a defensive player laying out, a Pitt player laying out, trying to stretch the ball for extra yardage. And I'm like, you are a bold man right now. Like, with how hard they've just been punching balls and, like, already forced a few fumbles and just cracking at them, like, you are bold to hold out that football right now. And it just seems like that has obviously been a focus area. And it's just like, man, like, every chance they get, they're just punching, trying to scrap a ball out. Like, they're going for it. They're swarming. They're always all there all the time.
Yep.
Yeah. I knew going into it, too, man. Like, I knew – because watching those two games, I know the score differential was bad for the two games Pitt played against Duquesne and Central Michigan, but their offensive line, they looked so weak at times.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, man, I think we can get a good push on them, and we did all day. I know in the third quarter things went crazy because of the whole, quarterback situation. I want to touch back on that in a second.
The offensive side as well.
But yeah. Defensively, man, all day they was coming at you.
Hot.
And I love the game
stocks up for
plan
sure.
to hit Eli Holstein early, hit him often. If you're in there, hit him. You may not get the sack, but we're going to hit him. We're going to let him know we were there. And I'm telling you what, man, unfortunately, it cost us Ashton Woods on a BS targeting. And of course, we ended up getting, another BS call, in my opinion, that was maybe even worse on the Marshawn Oxley roughing or personal foul, whichever it was that they called that one. But I'm telling you, fourth quarter, overtime, Holstein was rattled. And the crowd
Yeah,
being part of that, but also as many
very
times as
much.
they hit him, he was very much rattled. He had happy feet in the pocket. And you saw it even on the very last play of the game when he absolutely had a man wide open. Was that guy going to get the first down and keep the game alive? Probably not. But the throw was nowhere near him because Eli Holstein was so rattled. He'd been hit so much all
Did you
night.
see his
So
press conference, by the way?
I didn't see it, but I seen the pictures of him with the gauze
Dude's
on him,
still crying.
help
He
nose and
said he
everything.
said, credit to them, but, I don't feel like that, they won this game. I feel like we lost it. I'm like,
Hey,
"Whatever makes you feel better, buddy. Take that L."
I'll tell you what, though. He was right about one thing, though. He did get hit with a battery, and it was assault and battery from Zach Alley's defense. That's what it was.
Maybe he just could see the future.
Yeah, it was tough. I mean, it was just such great defense. Like, it was so fun to watch, so
Yeah.
aggressive. The up the middle blitzes, like, it seems like we've also got some big beefy boys too. Like, Kelly's huge.
Yeah, we do.
Oh, yeah.
Like, and some of these guys are just stocky, and that's something again that we just haven't seen. And real quick to touch on that, we are going to compare a lot to the previous staff. I find it so fascinating that Neil Brown did a lot of great things right, but just couldn't win. So, like, I look
Yep.
at the things that like actually matter, which is identifying talent, developing it, and you can build any kind of culture, but those things have got to stay consistent. Something they didn't have, and just some of these guys look the part, and that's really confidence building.
Eddie
So
Kelly.
yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. Eddie Kelly was
Yeah, I was gonna
massive.
say this is a win you did it with using some of your depth. So that's identifying guys, not only starters but even talent down the line, because obviously we know on the offense, no Jaheim, no Jaden Bray. Preston was injured in this game, but on defense, no Chase Wilson, lose Ashton Woods early on. So you got Reed Carrico, you got Ben Bogle, you got
Yep.
Ben Cutter. Great game from Ben Cutter, but you had guys stepping
Fred
up in
Perry had
some
a
spots
game.
when they had to.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Oh,
Fred
Fred
Perry had
Perry's all over the
And
field,
Darren
man.
Lewis,
yeah.
is that his name? Darren.
Darren Lewis, yep.
Yeah, that
Another
guy has
interception for
been
Darren Lewis.
at the top of every stat sheet I look at almost.
Yep. Yeah, he's been having a good game, man. We got some
He's been
dudes
having
there
some
on the
good
defense, and
series.
we got a hell of a guy leading them in Zach Alley. But I know you guys want to touch on the offense. So just to lead off the offensive discussion, because I love this so much. And it ties into what we were talking about there with the change in the mentality, the hard edge style. We're going to run it down your throat, which is what we did, especially in overtime. And I love the fact that we went for it on the 4th and 1 in the brawl, which I talked about when I did the live stream, sharing some of my thoughts on the game and the way that we did it here. I just got to share the picture, man, because this is so cool. The formation West Virginia was using with
Yeah.
Ty Edwards in the backfield in the short yardage
I
and
know
goal line
why you love that
situation.
formation.
9 offensive linemen. And Stephen knows from, the college football,
Oh.
the way I run the football and the dynasty controversy that we've referenced here in joking at times. That's why he says that I love it. But how about this 9 offensive linemen on the field in West Virginia's jumbo package? That's hard edge right there. We got 7 on the line, 2 lined up in the stick eye there off behind the tackles. And then, of course, the running back offset to that. And every time they went to this, Ty Edwards found the way to get the yardage that they needed. So, to me, that's awesome. And, not only just that, but I think they did some different things to finally get the run game going. You go from a game which you couldn't run the football at all last week to a game where this week, you look more like a Rich Rod offense here than you did definitely against Ohio. And especially we knew we needed somebody to step up. Who was going to be the guy at running back? There were some names. Ty Edwards was one of them. And man, did Ty Edwards step up in a big way. So glad we got that guy eligible. He made a statement with the way that he came out and performed. And I think the entire offense did, that they made a statement that, hey, we're going to find a way to get it done one way or the other. Was the offensive line play perfect? But no, they held their own, which was my key to the game. And I think they did that. But what are your all's thoughts on the offense? West Virginia does just enough to get it done, especially getting hot there late. 3 straight scoring drives in the fourth quarter and overtime to close it out. Nico comes back in to do it, clutch just like he was in high school. But how'd you feel about the offense, Brad?
Yeah, and I think I'm going to start there, and I'm just going to come right at you guys. Quarterback situation. What do you guys, while you were in the stadium, what was the reaction to that? Because I mean, he comes out, he plays Scotty Fox, who gets a good first drive. Like going into it, I knew kind of how it ended a little bit, so like I knew that it was going to come back to Nico. But I mean, in that situation, like, did you guys feel like it was warranted to pull Nico, like to change it up?
I will say, I was surprised when the second half started and I saw Scotty Fox in at quarterback. I was like, "Oh, Scotty Fox is in at QB." But once people saw that, and of course, once the announcer says it, that's when a lot of people realize, and got a loud pop. People were
tell you what,
excited because people have been wanting Scotty. Got a loud pop.
I'll
But
tell you what
then
though, by that
after the
last
first
interception,
after the first interception, people was like, "All right, maybe we should go back to Nico." After the second interception, people were like, "Okay, he's
You're
young, he's
blowing the
freshman."
game.
Right? Yeah,
yeah,
people
Ron, what are
were
you doing?
pissed then. So,
yeah.
and I think now in hindsight, a lot of people said, "Man, why would you take out Nico?" And I think in
I'll tell you what
hindsight,
though,
it's easy to say that,
Yeah.
but I also see where Rich Rod was coming from. And of course, he said, going in, their game plan was to play multiple quarterbacks. And I think at that point, he's like, "We're up 7-3, but I feel like our offense, could really take off, and we could, blow this game out of the water if we can get our offense cooking." So I think he was just trying to find that spark. So that's why he went from, Scotty Fox. And then when things went awry, he was like, "All right, maybe Jalen will give us that spark."
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, by that point, you're down. So, like he said, had to go back to our best passer in Nico, which actually works out because we know Nico's been clutch and was clutch again. So I think he went to him at the right time. But, Steven, what about you? I know you're going to add something there on the quarterbacks.
I done forgot now. I got so enthralled with what you were saying.
Yeah.
I just had to, I know one thing for sure is I had to message Steven when Nico made that game winning drive. I sent him a text over there in the next section over to me like, I can't deny Nico now because he's
I
clutch at
don't know why
quarterback just like
anybody
he
ever
did in high
did.
school.
I've
Yeah.
gotten a few of those texts. It was like, man, he made me a believer. I'm like, what made you ever doubt him?
Yeah. When did you not believe?
He had one bad game.
Why were you not
One
bad?
bad game. Yeah,
Out of
that's all it took, I guess.
dude was a dog in high school. Dude's been a dog in a Neil Brown offense that was dog shit otherwise.
Yeah. And I mean,
Dude
would you
has
say
been that guy. And I don't understand what it's been so like.
Yeah.
I don't mean to be so aggressive about it, but I mean for real, like he has got that it factor.
Mhm.
And
Well,
even when that's what I was going to say earlier, but it was bad whenever Scotty threw the last interception, but then whenever Jalen came in and he got tackled by his own damn lineman and got sacked in the backfield, then I was like, oh my Lord Almighty, what are we doing here? I'm gonna let you get back to yours in a second, Brad, but I did want to touch on that. I wanted to say how proud I was of Nico. A lot of other quarterbacks would have folded in that moment, being taken out in that kind of situation. Dude never wavers, man. Like he's always ready. He's always trying to be in a position to win the game. Has heart.
Yeah.
And all people are going to talk about for a long time, hopefully, will be this game. But he is still going to get overshadowed by that Ohio game, unfortunately, just because he played one bad game. But
I mean, not if Ohio looks better.
And they don't look bad. I mean, they hung with Ohio State for 3 quarters, and then Ohio State finally pulled away in the fourth. So I don't think they're a bad team by any means.
Yeah.
3 straight double-digit win seasons. So
I still think that can they potentially still get to the playoff with now 2 losses? Even because I mean the 2 losses are against
doubtful.
Very doubtful. Yeah. One of those
Doubtful.
teams
If they had 1 loss and it was still a Power 5, now with 2, doubtful.
Yeah.
Because there'll probably be I'd say I'm sure there's probably going to be a 1 loss or undefeated group of 6 team. I'd say so.
Even still, all those guys stay healthy, they're going to be in good shape.
But yeah.
Oh yeah.
Back to the quarterbacks, though. I was just curious about it. Like, being there, again, I looked at the stats on the way home because I just wanted to know, and I saw that Nico obviously got play time, and I saw Scotty Fox threw 2 picks, and I saw Jalen Henderson got a drive, and I was like, what in the world happened? I was like, when did all this craziness happen? So I've got to see how that played out. And watching the first half, I was like, I don't think Nico's really playing bad. I was like, I don't know why we went to Scotty Fox really at all going into halftime. Like, Nico had kind of even scrapped together and almost got us a field goal in the halftime. He didn't throw it, but he almost picked it up with his legs and got a bogus
Should
flag.
have been a field goal.
Yeah, right. So it was really confusing as to why we didn't come out and start Nico.
Yeah, I don't know what was up with the flag situation.
Ridiculous stuff, and they didn't know either on the commentary. But I was like, this is just crazy, and so I started thinking about, well, why would he do this, right? And I think it comes to they probably had pre-drawn up before the game. They're like, hey, if going into halftime we're not up by a lot, let's try something different. And that difference is going to be Scotty Fox. And when I watched the first half, I did think that there was a lot of opportunities for the quarterback to pull the ball and run. Like, he definitely could have gotten a lot more, but Ty Edwards was doing good. And I think the coaching staff saw that, and they're like, okay, well, let's put somebody in there that can, do something with their legs. And then it just went horribly wrong, But you're also then like, hey, well, let's give Jalen Henderson, we're still hanging in this, let's give Jalen Henderson a chance. And see if maybe he can spark something. Like you guys said, is a little stagnant, so like let's see if he can get a little juju going. Plus, you're seeing how people perform when the lights are bright, right? Like you are getting them in an ultimate test of like, this is the backyard brawl in the third quarter. We're looking for a spark. What do you got? Which is, see how they perform. And the person that came out on the other side of that was Nico. Like the situation called for him, and he stepped up to meet it. Absolutely. And I personally think coming out of it that I think we found our quarterback, but it could just be he came into the right situation. He has struggled a little bit when the line seems to crumble. And he did, or one of them got sacked by their own lineman. I think it was Jalen Henderson got sacked by his own right guard. So, because he got sat in his lap, right? So it's, not greatness there. So it could just be consistency going into next game is probably going to be, I guess, what we would call the key to the game. But that's what's got to happen next. But very impressed. Yeah. Rodney Gallagher, kudos to him too. I say he
for sure
definitely stepped up big. I say when there was some
the game meant a lot to him as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
you could tell that.
Shout him out.
Yeah,
but
I think with the quarterbacks there, I don't know. I think it'll continue at least a little bit in some spots. You'll either have Jalen or Scotty come in, because I think one thing that Rich Rod's probably considering, in addition to if you try and run, you've seen every time we tried to run that QB counter with Nico, he's just not fast enough to get through there, and same with the draw play. And also, Nico's really good at the RPOs as far as knowing whether to hand it to the back or, whether to throw it, and really good at making those decisions, and really good at fitting the ball into tight windows off of those. But I think he's also maybe concerned with Nico in, he's not going to pull it and be a threat to run on the read option a lot. And then you're worried about that defensive end being able to crash in on your inside zone all the time. So maybe playing somebody else a little bit to keep him honest. But to go along with that a little bit, talking a little bit about Rich Rod, that's one thing I was impressed with in this game. And I got to shout out, I think it was Touchdown City Show that pointed this out as well, because like I said, I haven't had a chance to go back and rewatch the game, but I did go back and rewatch highlights, and you can kind of even see it unfold there. The game plan for this game was really, really good. And the fact that the game went longer, went into overtime, benefited it, because we know up-tempo style, our conditioning, we want it to be better than yours. We're going to outlast you, and deep in the fourth and stuff, we're going to be able to run the ball on you. But even to add to that, even more so, if you go back and you kind of watch the way things unfold early, especially in the first half a lot, on our early possessions, a lot of the things that we're doing, outside zone, sweep to the outside, screen to the outside to Rodney Gallagher, quick screen to the outside to the receiver. And think about why they're doing it, though. Because the entire Pitt defense is having to do what? Cover the entire run side to side, back and forth. And then that's why when we get to the fourth quarter, we get to overtime late in the game, and Rich is calling those inside zones that maybe he was calling in the first and second quarter that weren't working. The defense is tired because you've been spreading them out.
They're not just tired. They're
I'd say they're tired. They're getting hurt every damn play, or falling by the 3s and 4s out there every damn play.
And then you're able to hit that inside zone. So got to credit that game plan. And I think all of this, we saw kind of what it is. This was a Rich Rod game right here. This is what it is, for the new people of the fan base, that awesome feeling that we've talked about throughout this episode, the way the offense played, everything just felt like this is what we've been missing. This is Mountaineer football.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what I was going to touch on in the offense is like I said, through the third quarter, it was lost, but I think otherwise throughout the game, the offense performed pretty well. I mean, even with the offensive line, like what I would notice about the offensive line, a lot of them would get pushed back to a certain point, and then they would get a kind of an oomph, and then not always, but a lot of times. And that's what happened on that specific play with Jalen. He got pushed back to the point where he got knocked into Jalen, and then as soon as that happened, he pushed that defensive lineman over.
Yeah, and then
because the quarterback had a shoving
balance. And I will say, I mean, I'm still going to say offensive line. There's definitely room for improvement there still yet. But I think the improvement they made in 1 week's time was pretty impressive. If they can continue to do that, they can be pretty good as the season develops for sure.
Yeah, that's that
definitely
camaraderie and
better.
chemistry part of it, 100%.
Yeah.
I also wanted to shout out Clay Ash too. I know you said somebody, was it you or somebody said that they didn't like the way Clay Ash was running the ball. I thought he did a phenomenal job. I thought he made some pretty clutch catches.
He ran hard.
Yeah, he got us in some good position.
He got licked too. He got lit up on quite a few plays.
He got submarined on one of them too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And well, I'll tell you what, his best play's been when he catches that little swing pass, that screen pass out of the backfield, and he made some good plays on that in the game, especially there, on that drive and to tie it up. He made a big one there as well.
Also, Scotty Fox
making a catch on that, which was awesome play by Nico.
Scotty Fox got a welcome to college football moment in his first tackle.
Oh yeah, he did. I could tell he was feeling that one too. He was still shaking.
But I mean, like that's just, I mean. Scotty's going to grow, and he's going to be a good quarterback. He is a good quarterback, and he's going to get better. But
Rich Rod grabbed him on the shoulders
when you put a true freshman in there. I know everybody on Facebook thinks that true freshman always equals Pat White. That ain't the case, man.
Yeah, you just learned he's not ready.
That's what made Pat so damn special when he played. Was that he was, you know what I mean? Yeah. I mean, it happens more often nowadays that true freshmen end up being the guy, but they go through their woes, man. Like, how many did he end up throwing? 2 or 3?
Two.
The
second one was, in my opinion, because he was about to get sacked and just kind of threw it. I mean, they were both pretty bad.
Young quarterback
argument, but definitely a true freshman mistake, 100%.
But like, how you can't judge Jalen on like one series? Like, I think this tells you that Scotty Fox definitely isn't the one and isn't ready, but.
There's got to be more to that, though, because Jalen only got 2 series in the game 2 weeks ago, and then he only got 1 series last night. He's not getting near as much.
I think Jalen would have probably got at least 2 if it wouldn't have got like later in the fourth by the time we had the second one and we just had to throw, and so they wanted to go to Nico. I think that Jalen maybe would have got another one. But I think the thing with Scotty is in this game, you saw both sides of that coin, right? Because yes, the interceptions were bad and nearly cost us, but luckily Zach Alley's defense held the Pitt offense somehow to where they didn't get a touchdown after either of those. But the other side of that coin is you saw yet another big play. Earlier in the season, we saw him break a 59-yard touchdown run here, hits Justin Smith-Brown, and hits him in the perfect spots where he can make a defender miss and then show off that speed that we've heard so much about. Finally get to see it. 56-yard play. So, you did see a big play from Scotty Fox, and he did lead a touchdown drive. So you see, okay, there's the potential, and you saw that first. But then you saw the other thing. Okay, yeah, he's still a freshman. Probably not quite ready yet. But when he is ready, he's going to do things like he did on that first drive, hopefully, more consistently. That's what you're hoping.
Yeah.
So for sure. We'll talk more, on it when we talk numbers here in a second. We'll pull up the stats, go through those team-wise and individually. And when we go individually, we'll pick some players of the game on each side of the ball. But we've talked defense, offense, so we may as well throw in a little special teams discussion because Earth Ether, one of our channel members in here.
You got to shout it out, man.
Got to shout out this play because it's the most underrated play of the day. Is the one-handed grab, the saving of a potential safety by Ollie Straw. I actually have a picture of it, I think, pulled up.
What a
but
catch
this play
that
right
was.
Here, man.
But also what a punt that was.
Yeah, 100%.
Look at that. Like,
look how stretched out, first of all, to even make this. I mean, Ollie Straw is an athlete of his own, and he's one of the best punters in the country because not only does he save that, catch it, then to have the wherewithal to go punt the ball for 46 yards and still have a decent little punt out of that. And he had some really good punts on the day after that too. And while we're talking about it, I thought that it was nice to see Ethan Head have at least 2 kicks where he booted that thing out of the end zone for touchbacks, which is something we've been clamoring for. Need a good job of that. So I thought special teams all in all was pretty good for us. I know Hensley missed the early field goal, which was giving me bad flashbacks of the last Backyard Brawl Rich Rob was here for. But then he recovered after that, hit his other one, and hit all his extra points. So I thought special teams overall was pretty good, especially, you lost Preston Fox. You had in your backup punt returner and kick returner. Bowie was in at kick returner, Rodney Geiger in at punt returner, and they handled things well also.
Yeah, I think so too. And that Oliver Straw, it saved the safety. So, I mean, that saved the game essentially. That wouldn't. I mean, that would have changed a lot. That would have changed a whole lot.
100%. 100% would have changed it a ton. So it's, as I said, probably the most underrated play of the game. All right, so shared some thoughts. Let's take a look at some numbers, gentlemen, because I've purposely held off from looking at these for a while. I mean, I know some of the ones like individually that because I've just heard people say them, but I've held off of looking at these so we can react to them here after the 31-24 West Virginia win in overtime. Let's go through here team stats, and then we'll go through some individual numbers. So team stats wise, 28 first downs for West Virginia, only 15 for Pitt. We know Rich Rod says if you get 25, you can win most games. So they do accomplish that and then some. We talked about holding Pitt to 4 of 17 on third downs. West Virginia not the best themselves at 5 of 17, but hey, one better than Pitt at least. But West Virginia was 2 of 3 on fourth downs, which is good to see. Pitt 1 of 2 on their fourth downs. Total yards, West Virginia ends up picking up 434 compared to 350 total yards for Pitt. Pitt throws for 303, West Virginia for 260 in the game. Rushing wise, this is what's impressive is West Virginia holds Pitt to only 47 yards rushing. I know they lost Des Reed, after pretty early in the game, but still yet, they do have some other good players behind him, and West Virginia's done a great job stopping the run this season. And then how about West Virginia? They ran for 72 yards last week, turned that around, run for 100 plus more this week at 174. So that's pretty good improvement over a week. Not quite where they need to be or want to be, but good improvement, and hopefully they can continue that.
Edwards had 141 of those.
That's true. 6 penalties for the Mountaineers, 14 on the Panthers. West Virginia with 2 turnovers. Pittsburgh with the 1. West Virginia, nearly forced a couple others, though. Had a couple, first play of the game, Zach Alley's defense nearly forced a fumble there. Time of possession, 31 for West Virginia to 29 for Pitt. Gentlemen, team stats-wise, what sticks out to you guys? Anything you want to touch on there?
28 first downs is absolutely impressive to me.
Yeah, for sure.
I did feel like we was doing the WVU first down. Felt like we was doing that a lot. That makes sense.
Yeah,
Definitely.
Yeah, we were right.
Huh? What'd you say, Brad?
I said definitely were. You were doing a lot.
Yeah.
We were.
I say you're getting
28
first downs.
times, my friend.
We were getting first downs. We were moving the ball consistently.
Brad, what about you? Anything stand out team stats-wise?
I mean, no, not really. I would say I do think that we did pretty good on penalties in general. Like I felt like we were pretty well disciplined, nothing too egregious. Like no DPIs really. So
yeah, I agree. Definitely was an improvement in that area, I think. So with that being said, let's go ahead. Let's run through some of the individual numbers for the Mountaineers, and then we'll name some players of the game. So we'll go through the offense, name our players of the game on that side, then hit up some defensive standouts and name our player of the game on that side. Offensively, we talked about the 3 quarterbacks that played in the game, Nico, Scotty, and Jalen. Nico leads the way. Impressive completion percentage, 76%, 19 of 25, 192 yards and a touchdown. Scotty was 1 of 4 for 56 yards. Unfortunately, the 2 interceptions. Jalen was 2 of 3 for 12 yards. Rushing, we touched on Ty Edwards and talked about how important it was to get him eligible, especially with what happened with Jaheim and how that could pay off in the future. And man, did it ever pay off in this Backyard Brawl, and he step up and become a Backyard Brawl legend, like Steven mentioned there. 25 carries, 141 yards, and 3 touchdowns. What a stat line there for Ty Edwards, and only, the tip of the iceberg, or maybe what could be there in the future. Clay Ash, who we talked about, 12 carries, 37 yards on his own. Sincere Bowers had 1 carry, 3 yards. 6 carries, 2 yards for Scotty. Nico Marchio and Jalen Henderson didn't net any yardage. Receiving, leader in receptions, Rodney Gallagher stepped up and had a big game, 7 catches, 61 yards. Grayson Barnes with some huge plays, including the game-tying touchdown there in the fourth quarter with 11 seconds to go. 5 catches, 58 yards, and that touchdown grab. We mentioned Justin Smith-Brown, his 1 grab, hugely impactful, and hopefully we could see him get some more touches with that speed after he had that 56-yard grab. Cam Vaughn, unfortunately, was being bracketed. That a safety on him to go along with the man-to-man coverage that he was definitely who they were keying on. Ends up with 3 catches, 34 yards, but drew some big penalties in the game, if we're being honest. He was still getting by his man and still a factor, forcing those pass interference penalties. That's right.
And the catches he did
and
make
the 3
big.
catches he did make were electric.
Yeah,
I was going to say.
Yes.
That one little massive.
They were important.
It's like Nico threw it out in front of him on a screen, and he still reached out and snatched it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Great hands to be able to hold that
I
one.
was
Yeah.
going to
That was a
say, that's
bullet.
some of the best. hands we've seen on a receiver in quite some time.
On
Maybe Kevin
receivers,
White.
they were all catching fairly well.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, Roddy
And
did well
then
too.
Clay Ash, we talked about him being used on that swing screen pass, 4 catches, 32 yards. Preston Fox, 1 reception, 12 yards before went down with the injury. Hopefully he's all right moving forward. And Jacob Barrick, 1 reception, 7 yards as well. The other tight end getting involved there. I believe his reception came in overtime, if I'm not mistaken. So a little bit of run through the offensive numbers, gentlemen. Player of the game on the offensive side. I guess whoever's going to take it's going to get the low-hanging fruit here.
Yeah,
but,
I'll take Ty Edwards. I'll take
yeah,
him.
go ahead, Brad. Yeah, I was about to say,
I'll
somebody's
take
going to get
I'm-
Ty Edwards. So go
Y'all
ahead,
take
Brad.
them. Y'all take the
Ty.
two low-hanging fruit. There's 2 of them that
Wow. I'm just going to say Ty Edwards was a big body, came in. He had good burst. I was like, man, that's a massive individual, but he seemed like he had more natural quickness than like C.J. Donaldson did. But you could tell that like that top end speed was there, but it didn't matter because he just hit the holes so dang hard. And, made good, quick, hard decisions. And that was like freshman year CJ. It was like, this guy's a senior, so he's got a lot more experience in doing it. So, yeah, and he just came in and absolutely changed the game. We got to find some other piece to go with him. It made me miss Jaheim White even more. It made me miss Jaheim White because those two would have been tearing it apart. But, yeah, I'll take the low-hanging fruit. I'll take Ty Edwards.
All right, he takes Ty Edwards. Now you go ahead. Now you take Nico. Go ahead.
Well, actually, I was thinking about going somewhere else. And,
of course you were, because you got to go with who I was going to go with.
And I was either, I was thinking about one of the 2 leading receivers. I think that both those guys are candidates because I think both of those 2 guys are going to be weapons throughout the season with people have, Kean Moore and Cam Vaughn now, which is only going to benefit the run game, right? Because they can't defend everything. If they're keying on Cam Vaughn, then we start hitting those inside routes to our tight end and our slots. That's going to open up the run game also. But
my player is Grayson Barnes. You can't pick him.
No, that's fine. I'm going to cheat, though. I'm going to cheat. I'm not going to go either one of those. I'm going to cheat a little bit and give my player of the game to the offensive line. Because I think, like I said, is there still room for improvement? Yes. Are they perfect? No. Are they where they need to be? Probably not quite yet. But, man, they made a hell of a lot of improvements in a week. They proved a lot of people wrong that thought they wouldn't be able to do anything. We wouldn't be able to run the ball on Pitt. We wouldn't be able to score on Pitt. And, without the offensive line, both getting pushed, especially on some of those short yardage plays that we had to convert late in the game and in overtime. That's just, will, toughness, and grit, like Coach Rod talked about in his interview with ESPN. And, of course, our offensive line did a great job in pass protection there late in the game when they knew we were throwing. They kept Nico clean and let him make some of those throws. And, that was my key to the game was the offensive line holding their own. And I think they did. So I got to give my player of the game to our offensive line in general. So there. There's no low-hanging fruit involved on that one. I go completely off board.
I love that, and I love the explanation behind it because a lot of people are still saying. I mean, we've even said it this episode how the offensive line needs to improve. That's obviously true, but you're right. They made vast improvements in a week, and I think that people are lost on that as well as those late games when the late game plays, especially near the goal line on 4th and 1 and 3rd and 1, where they're getting that push to get that touchdown. I mean, that's impressive stuff in a game like that. So I really like that pick. You already know mine, but the reason why is because the pressure to make that catch at the end of regulation to send it to overtime. What a hell of a grab by Grayson Barnes. Hell of a grab. I mean, he was getting what appeared to be taken down to the ground as he went up to get that thing out of the air.
Yeah.
I mean, that was an impressive grab. So
Indeed.
I thought about that as soon as it happened to. I was like, I am picking him as my player of the game on the show. For sure.
And it was a little bit of a breakout for him. It was kind of what we expected to see when we got him in and, how impressive his numbers were and stuff. I think we saw kind of the starting of that a little bit to where hopefully now he's going to be a factor moving forward as well. And that's going to be tough for defenses to deal with. They're having a game plan for him, having a game plan for Cam Vaughn, having to try and stop the run game.
Yeah.
What can you do?
Let's give an honor roll.
It's improving.
Honor roll mention to Nico, though,
Gotta
who
give it to Nico,
absolutely more than anything deserves it. And
absolutely,
like he said, he gets taken out of the game and then comes back in. A lot of people would have been deflated.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like I said, that switch never turns off for Nico, man. So I cannot say enough about him as well. Super proud of the kid.
Yeah.
Well said. Defensively here, run through some individual numbers, pick a player of the game on this side. Defensively, we have Darian Lewis with 8 tackles, Ben Cutter with 8 tackles, and the TFL as well for Mr. Cutter, who had to step up. As we talked about, no Chase Wilson in the game. Ashton Woods thrown out for targeting, so Ben Cutter had to play a lot, and he played well while he was in there. Kike Tarnu, 7 tackles, and the pass deflection. Fred Perry, 6 tackles, a sack, and a TFL. Reed Kiriko with half a sack, half a TFL, and 6 tackles also. You get a sack and a TFL from Curtis Jones, who had 5 tackles in the game. Then, of course, you get Eddie V, who comes up big with 2 sacks, 2 TFLs within his 4 tackles there in the game. A lot of other players that had half a sack or a sack in general, as of course we talked about the team really, having a great game. 6 sacks, 8 TFLs. Darian Lewis had the interception to go along with his 8 total tackles. So, big game from him. A lot of good candidates in this one. A lot of guys that were flying around there on defense. Steven, I'll let you take this one first. Player of the game on the defensive side for the Mountaineers after Zach Alley's club showed out in the Backyard Brawl.
I like Eddie V, man. I think Eddie V made a hell of a play in overtime to pretty much seal the game, or to help seal the game. Thought he played pretty well throughout the game, getting pressure on the quarterback. Obviously getting 2 sacks back there. So I'm going with my man Eddie V, the Finnish Army guy.
It's a great pick. That dude loves football, and you could tell.
Yeah, absolutely.
For sure. And so deserving, man, because, we talked about all the new players in this team. Had 2 guys returning that have, started games extensively. One of those was Jaheim White, who we've now lost. The other was Eddie V. So he's kind of the lone one now. And to see him have a game like that and, his final Backyard Brawl, super awesome. 2 sacks, 2 TFLs. I think that's a great pick. I'll go ahead and run mine now because I'm going to go Fred Perry, man. We mentioned him a little bit earlier. He's just all over the field. Man, he's just a fun guy to watch. Knew he'd be a fan favorite coming in. And, the stat line isn't that impressive necessarily when you look at it. Yeah, sack and TFL is great. 6 tackles aren't a ton, but I promise you, every one of those 6 tackles you heard in that stadium, and almost every one of those times when Fred Perry hits somebody, it's one of those that gets the ooh from the crowd, man. That's what you get with Fred
It's
Perry,
the open.
and you
That's
love to
what.
see it.
Like, it's a difference in, you know what I'm saying? Like a Ben Cutter having 8 tackles who plays in the middle of there and is going to be, at the forefront of pretty much a lot of the run plays. Not to say that 8 tackles isn't impressive. It is, but it's a little bit different than 6 tackles on the outside in space. You know what I mean? Like, there's perspective there that needs to be added, I think.
For sure. And, that's what I like about Fred Perry is he's asked to do it all, play inside, play in the box, and then play in coverage at some points. And that's another reason that he gets, my player of the game on the defensive side is not only because his stat line, his hitting ability, which we all know about, but he showed that hard edge and showed some hustle. If you guys remember, he got beat on that streak route. He was the one that got beat in the man-to-man on that streak route. Could have easily been a touchdown. Instead, he chases down a guy that's probably faster than him on a straight effort play, makes the tackle, so we stop him there and, make him play yet again because, our defense can have those goal line stands, and they had several in this game. So I thought that was a big play there by Fred Perry. And I think KK Tarnu did something similar later in the game, but love that effort that Fred Perry showed in that one. You see how much he loves football, how much it means to him, how much he wanted to win the game. And he's a guy that flies over the field on defense. So I'll give him mine for my player of the game on the defensive side. Brad, what about you, man? Round us out here, player of the game on defense.
Yeah, I'm going Darian Lewis. Right there at the very top. I mean, had a big interception, which really wasn't a massive him play, but he was at the right place, the right time, and he caught the ball, right? And sometimes you'll take that. And it just seemed like he's been everywhere every game so far. He's really been active and making big plays. And you look here, he's obviously trying to get in on every tackle. He's pursuing the ball thoroughly. And I just think that his name's been at the top of the list for the last 3 weeks. So, at least in the top 5 in the last 3 weeks. So, super impressed with him so far, as I am with most of the defense. So,
I like it. Well said. A couple interceptions already early in the season. Seems to be a playmaker on the defensive side. So another good pick. And what matters most is West Virginia gets the win in 108th Backyard Brawl on 9-13. Get it done in overtime, 31-24. West Virginia moves to 2-1 in the 2025 season. As we wrap up our discussion of the game, let's move on and take a look around the Big 12 here as we get close to wrapping up episode 228. Before we do, just want to say Appreciate you guys tuning into this episode, whether you're watching the video version or you're listening on the audio side, which you can find on any podcast platform. If you listen there, leave us a rating. That helps out on that side of things. Those of you that watch the video version here on YouTube, be sure to hit that like button there. That helps out with that crazy YouTube algorithm. And be sure to subscribe to the channel if you're a Mountaineer fan for a ton of WVU football coverage. And shout out to our friends over at WVUSportsNow.com.
That thumbs up little animation was from Brad there.
Clip
just
it.
like
That's true. That's true, man. It's I literally don't even need to throw a graphic on the episode because Brad had it so well animated there. And then, of course, our friends over at WVUSportsNow.com for hosting our episodes on their site as well. So, with that being said, gentlemen, let's take a look around the Big 12. Let's talk scores from this week.
Big 12 went
interesting-
undefeated this week. This weekend, gentlemen.
That's right. That's right.
I mean,
the
I-
ones that played
I
each
mean-
other, because I know that
yeah.
Colorado lost.
I was about to say only one of those is a conference game, though, technically. So,
Which
and
one
that
is?
the first Houston, Colorado. I think
That
is,
one was
isn't it?
okay.
I think so. Yeah.
I know they said the Arizona and Kansas State one was.
I think
not.
the
They
Arizona
said
K
that
State's
one.
the one where they had already
Yeah.
had the home and home. So
Well, it
it's
says
not-
conference, I think.
Okay, yeah, it does. You're right. I see that now.
Where?
Okay, good call, Brad.
By the
Good
way,
call.
okay,
Look at the
duh.
big brains
I see
on
now.
Brad.
I use my eyeballs.
Big brain Brad over here.
That's what they call me.
So around the Big
I've heard him
12
say that.
scores here from week 3. Was it week 3? I guess. Yeah, because week 0. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Carry the 2 over. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Week
Don't
3.
forget the logarithms.
Yeah, that's right. 36-20. Houston takes down Colorado in the first Friday night game. The other one being the Arizona Kansas State game we were talking about there. That's not a conference game, but Arizona does win 23-17. Drops K-State to 1-3 on the season. Then the Saturday slate, Baylor handles Samford 42-7. Texas Tech handles Oregon State 45-14. Cincinnati handles Northwestern State 70-0. The Mountaineers taking down the Panthers 31-24. Iowa State closer than expected with Arkansas State 24-16 win. TCU 42-21 over Abilene Christian. Utah 31-6 over Wyoming, and Arizona State 34-15 over Texas State. Any thoughts on any of the game scores this week? Anything you got there, Brad?
I need to go back and check. I think I got all of them right this week.
I think we may you may have, man. You may have.
I definitely picked
I think I
Houston,
may
and
have
think
too,
I've done
actually, because
Arizona.
I think we picked pretty similarly, so I might have also.
Yeah, 'cause I definitely picked Houston over Colorado, and I'm pretty sure. I mean, the Arizona Kansas State is the only one I'd have to check.
I think I picked Arizona. I think
y'all
you did too. I can't
because
remember.
y'all picked Arizona, so I picked Kansas State to be different.
Aha!
Mm.
Got your ass, Steven.
Doesn't know.
Oh yeah.
ball.
Well, I got y'all last week, so we're even.
Yeah, Mike
Yeah, we are even
Honcho.
now. We're even
Mister
now, Mike.
Mister looking at me like I was crazy for saying Mississippi State was going to lose or win.
Yeah, that's right. We're even. We're even now. Wildcats. We told you the Wildcats was going to win,
Yeah,
man.
good job, Jordan. Have a perfect records.
High five.
Y'all suck, man. I don't like
but,
that game
Catch me in
anymore.
trivia, Steven.
Any other
welcome.
thoughts, Steven, on the Big 12 slate?
I'm just really disappointed in Wyoming. I really believed in my Cowboys, and I really thought that we were prepared to go out there and battle, but got to go out there and lose to a lowly Utah team. So
Yep.
just really disappointed in those guys.
The Utes, the Utah Utes.
Utes.
They got a big one coming up this week.
UDU.
Excited to talk about that when we preview around the Big 12 this week on our Kansas preview episode, which we'll be getting to coming up, later this week. That'll be out for you guys on Tuesday or Wednesday, probably. Be on the lookout for that. That'll be our next episode. But in the meantime, between time, that pretty much puts this one in the book. That only leaves some comments here from the channel members. Let's get to a couple of these things here. So we got Earth Ether. Channel member says, this game meant so much for so many. We remember. And I think that's a great comment. I had to highlight that one to pull up for us because, ties right into what we were talking about, how much it meant, the emotion that Rich Rod showed, how we all felt about the game,
Yep.
the date that it took place on with Rich Rod being back. It was an emotional day, emotional win, and it was special. And definitely, I think so. I think Earth Ether puts it well there. It meant a lot for a lot of us.
Yeah. I find it hard not to get emotional a lot of times when singing Country Roads, but man, last night was it was a little extra, no doubt.
Yeah.
Seeing
Agreed.
Rich Rod react to it was a lot.
And then lastly, we have a good question here from channel member Trey Edwards. Virginia Tech just fired their head coach, which, Brent Pry on the way out there now. And of course, so now the transfer portal opens up for 30 days for their players to be able to enter the portal. And he asks, do you think that even though Matt Moore is still a coach, do you think some of their old linemen could potentially transfer back to WVU? Thomas Remack, Kyle Altuner, some of those guys we lost that ended up going to Tech. Now they're in the portal. Would they look at WVU?
Will they
potentially
Emmett
return back?
Matthews?
Yeah, pull the Emmett Matthews on the football side. What do you guys think?
I don't know.
Those were really
I don't know
highly
how
talented
likely.
people. Yeah, those are
I
really
think if
highly
they're
talented people. But do you have like weird dynamics coming back between like them and the people that are still there? And it's why do you want to look back when you can look forward, try to build on what you already have? But they were highly rated recruits. Like those are two, I think, 4-stars that were coming out of high school. So
were they both 4-stars?
I think so.
I think so. Yeah.
I knew Tomas Remack was, but I didn't realize.
Well, and I think like looking at it as us as fans, because we see that like, oh, those are really good players. Altuner could have been a starting center this year. Remack would have for sure been a starting lineman. Really, really good offensive lineman potentially. And we're like, oh yeah, you'd love to have those guys back on your team because their talent and everything. But I think, if I'm thinking about it, not as a fan, if I'm thinking about like would it actually happen, just thinking about Rich Rod and his mentality of things, he doesn't strike me as a guy that's like, oh, I got the job and these people left and now they want to come back and he's just going to accept them back in. That kind of strikes me as a guy that would kind of take that as a slight and be like, no, we're good.
Yeah. Same.
Very true.
So I personally don't think it would happen. I mean, like Brad said, they're talented and I'd welcome them if the staff felt it was a fit, but that's just kind of my personal feelings on it. But
yeah. I think you're right about that. Mostly towards what you said at the end there. I think Rich is definitely that type of guy. He's like,
for sure.
You didn't want me then, but you want me now that you feel left out to dry. No, sorry, we're good.
Yeah. And that's assuming that they want to come back, right? Like so.
Yeah, I was about
to say,
that's
just assuming that they. Yeah, I think it's more. I think it would actually be more likely that one or both would go to somewhere like Texas, where Neil Brown is, and Chad Scott is.
If VT doesn't hire Neil Brown.
Bro, what if? What if?
Man.
They can never get their fan base to buy into buying West Virginia scraps.
Oh
that would
my
be
God.
so
Texas isn't even doing that great right now, so
that would be so comedic. I had to put
which
it
is
out
a fitting reason for them to let Neil Brown go.
That's hilarious.
The Texas fan base right now has turned on Arch Manning worse than West Virginia ever turned on Jared Deggy. I'll tell you that.
It's sad, man. You hate to see it. With that being said, the last thing I want to pull up here is from Trey Edwards, who says, become a member of the channel. The perks are totally worth it, in my opinion. And definitely. And, these guys that you're getting to see some of their comments and hear us read off some of their comments. They're members of the channel. They have some of those bonus perks, like getting to see us record this episode as it happens. So you get the behind the scenes access, get to access it early, and then get to be a part of the show a little bit, throw in some comments there that we pull up at the tail end. That's only just one perk that you have there if you become a channel member, which come over to the YouTube channel, join buttons on the channel homepage, or if you're watching this on YouTube, you can find it down in the video description. You get access to cool behind the scenes stuff like that, get film reviews throughout the seasons, player grades, snap counts, bunch of fun bonus stuff there. And of course, game watch parties for away games. Those are a lot of fun with our Almost Heaven members as well. So something to consider for sure if you haven't yet here, if you're someone that can't get enough WVU football content. But if you can't do that, the fast, easy, and free way, like we talked about, is hitting that thumbs up button, helping us out with that YouTube algorithm, and just being sure you're subscribed to the channel. And we appreciate that as well. And of course, we appreciate you guys listening on any podcast platform. Leave us a rating there. That helps us out. But that'll pretty much get ready to wrap us up for our Backyard Brawl review and reaction. I know this one's a little bit more lengthy than our review episodes typically are, but man, we had some thoughts and feelings about this huge win in the 108th Backyard Brawl, everything tied into it, the emotions, all of that. And we had to not only touch on the game, but hit on a little bit of that as well. So I hope you guys enjoyed it throughout this episode, despite the length, because I think it's warranted. I think you guys would probably feel that way as well and probably want to take in as much content after this awesome win as possible. So with that being said, gentlemen, hit on a little bit of everything, but any final thoughts, anything that we missed on that you want to throw in here before we wrap up? You got anything, Brad?
Yeah, it's just one small thing, and it's thinking back on where we were to where we are now and the things that are different. And My wife just kind of talked about it a little bit. She was like, she was wondering if Rich Rod would go for 2 on the last touchdown. And in my head, I was like, it never crossed my mind that Rich Rod would ever go for 2 in that situation. He just believes in his defense. He'll take the field goal or the PAT, go into overtime anytime. But I think Neil Brown would have gone for 2, right? Just because he didn't believe in his offense. I mean, he believed in his offense. He didn't believe in his defense, and just like would have gone for, and just seeing a coach that has the confidence to change things up and like do things differently and just say, hey, like, I don't care, 4th and 1 in overtime. Like, if I don't get a half a yard, then I'm screwed anyway. Like, I'm going to go for it. And it's just, I'll even say throwing in Scotty Fox and being willing to make a change and like do something different is something I begged for last time. Even though it was scary this time, he still had the balls to do it. And I think that takes all the kudos in the world. So just a little nod to Rich Rodriguez that he's earning more of a fan. I say myself, a person that's been more reluctant. A big win against Pitt. I just appreciate it.
Let's go. Love to hear it, Brad.
Yeah.
Love to hear it, man. What about you, Steven? Any final thoughts?
Yeah, we touched on the atmosphere earlier, but I really want to double down on that. And I truly feel, I mean, I said West Virginia football felt like it was back when we went to that game on week 1. I mean, it just really kind of confirmed it last night, man, because, I mean, we've had some fun atmosphere since that era. But, I mean, I'll be damned if I haven't experienced that atmosphere and that atmospheric feeling. Like, there's a certain electricity in the air. I know you felt it last night. We talked about it.
Yeah.
I felt that. I remember feeling that when we beat Connecticut to win the Big East championship in 07. Felt it in 04 when we beat Maryland in overtime when Rasheed threw that pass to Chris Henry. I felt it when West Virginia beat Pitt in overtime in basketball when Kevin Pittsnockle had his coming out party. And I mean, I just can't say how much I appreciate that and how much it gives me something to look forward to. You know what I mean? There was always that feeling of downtrodden throughout the last decade and a half that you just couldn't seem to shake. You just always felt like that. Even on those seasons that sometimes we were good, for me, I just always felt that like some part of mediocrity in there. Like, you know what I mean? I think it was always the defense being on the weaker side of things. And that was always it was awesome to see a good offense. Having that grit, I know that's overused right now, but having that grit and that just sheer will to win, damn it, man. That's West Virginia football.
Yeah. Well said.
Glad to have it back.
Well said, man. Glad to have it back also. And I can't follow up anything you guys said any better. So pretty much just going to leave it at that. But I will say, Zach Alley has that same type of mentality. Watching him on the sidelines and stuff, he's got his own get back coach that pulls him back because he gets on the field too much. Man, Zach Alley gets into it, and that defense takes on his personality. Whole team takes on Rich Rod personality, and to have those two guys leading things, I think we're in good shape. This win was maybe the start of it. Could be a really fun season, and it's definitely going to be a really fun Rich Rod 2.0 era, guys. And we got to see something special in it already. 3 games in, and we've had a special moment, a signature win, and a special win that means a lot to us, means a lot to all of you guys throughout Mountaineer Nation. We were glad to come back on here and talk about that game. West Virginia wins it 31-24 in overtime, 2-1 on the season, and now it's on to Big 12 conference play moving forward, and we can't wait to dive in and preview those upcoming conference play games, starting with Kansas this week, and we'll have that preview episode out to you guys later this week. Be on the lookout for that. So for my co-host Brad and good old Mike Honcho, as always, I'm Jordan Cruz, and until next time, let's go Mountaineers.
Eat your pit.
If you really want to know, then come on, let's go. Take a stroll down those